Hello, everyone. Ann and Marcy here. We are back here in the studio, ready to share more with you on this Bridging Foods and Med program that is kicked off. Thank you, Carolina East Foundation, for your generous funding and making this possible. So, our topic today, we're moving right through. We've got 6 topics, 6 seminars that we're going to be doing, and they're going to start in July. We'll tell more about that later. But the topic today is all about balance. So, balance. Whenever I think of balance, I think equal. But having a better understanding because everybody's equal is different, right?
Right.
Because we all have different bodies. So, what does balance really mean when it comes to health, Marcy?
Well, a lot of people think balance is the physical balance where you're going to fall down. But there is way more to that word. You want to have a balance of your sleep. You want to have a balance of your hormones, your movement, your gut needs to be in balance. Your emotions need to be in balance. So there's a lot of things that need to be in balance.
So it's an inside job.
It is an inside job.
And we tend to focus, everything's on the outside. You know, our culture really is what you see versus what you don't see.
What you feel.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it really begins with an inside job when we're talking about balance. So why do you think so many people struggle with balance in their life?
Well, we live in a society of extremes.
All or nothing.
Yes. So people are working too much. They're sleeping too little. Their mind is constantly stimulated with these cell phones that we have. They're a wonderful tool, but they are consuming people. So I think people have a mentality that, well, I'm getting ahead of myself there.
This is a big topic.
Yes.
And it's a lot to unpack today.
Yes, there is. So, but that is the reason for why people struggle with that. And our body wants homeostasis.
Yeah.
So our body is constantly working on trying to keep everything in balance. Our body temperature, our hormones, our blood sugar. It's working constantly to make sure all those things are in balance.
Right.
So it's got a big responsibility to do.
It's an amazing machine. And computers are really amazing, but it's still the human body far outweighs anything that has been created by man. That's one thing I think we need to continue to remember, that this is a machine that needs to be, we go to get our cars serviced, right? Change the oil, but yet we ask so much of this machine without even giving an inspection or service.
Or tune-up,
yeah. So, there are a few things that we're going to hit on in this umbrella of balance. And the first one that we're going to talk about is stress. Now, that we hear that word a lot, and there's a lot of negative connotations to stress, but there could be some good stress too. So talk to us about stress and the importance of stress in our balance.
Right. So stress is not the enemy. Our body needs stress to make sure that we have the ability to tackle things that come up in life. So the problem is that it can't be chronic. You can't have chronic stress. That's when you run into trouble. So, your adrenaline and your cortisol jump up when you are in stress, and your body needs to be able to jack it up and bring it down. So that's people have to remember that having stress in your life, everyone is going to have stress in your life. But you need to be able to have the capability of bringing that back down.
Relationship. Like we need to have a good relationship.
A good balance.
With stress. So,
Yes.
And which really goes back to the mindset, which was our very first recording that we did, was, having a good relationship with whatever we're dealing with. Whenever I think about stress, I love the visual of a marathon runner and then a sprinter. And if you look at the difference in their bodies, it's an interesting visual when you're putting constant stress for 26 miles. That body looks totally different than someone who runs sprints. And,
I like that.
So their body makeup looks different. So that helps me to understand, how valuable stress is and what you need best for your balance. So, what are some ways that people can naturally? I think we're really good on what pill can I take. I think we're good with all that. I think we've seen also what damage that can do. But what are some things naturally that somebody can just immediately bring down their stress?
Well, deep breathing is extremely helpful. Take 5 minutes and do some deep breathing. You breathe in for 4, you hold it, and you breathe out for 8. And it's amazing how that just brings you down. Take a nice walk, a slow walk outside in nature.
We have some beautiful places here in Eastern North Carolina. Name
Yes.
some of the places you enjoy going.
Oh, gosh. Let's see. I love going to the beach, putting my feet in the sand.
Yeah.
I love being on a boat in the water. I grew up on the water, and that's my happy place right there. So how about you?
And a farm.
Oh, yes.
Walking the farm trails.
A farm. Oh, yes, yes.
Petting a horse. Isn't it amazing when you pet a horse, the difference in how you feel afterwards? Just a few minutes?
Yes. That's why they have that equine therapy. It's a good.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
And you and I, one day, we were having a really busy day, and we decided we would jump in the car and go to Trail of Faith Farms, which is on Middle Road here in Jones County. If you've never been there, it's an amazing place. Jessica's the ED over there. She runs this Mustang farm. And it was just really breathtaking to really take an hour, 45 minutes to an hour to go out and to see these majestic beings.
It was a great day.
Yeah. I mean, something so simple that we have access to right here in Jones County. The Mill Pond is a beautiful place to go in Trenton. I love walking farm trails. I love to listen to the church bells that are ringing in the communities.
Right outside our door.
Yeah. So there's just something really magical to stop and just listen to what's going on. The birds, the bells, people talking at the post office, just being curious about present circumstances, what's going on around you can really bring down
the stress.
Yeah.
Sure can.
Leading to a lot more balance in your life. So one of the other things that we wanted to talk about is physical movement, and how important that is to balance. So, why is physical movement so important?
Well, there's a lot of connection in the body with balance, and we're talking physical balance.
Yeah.
For obviously, the big one is prevent falls. You don't want to fall. You don't want to be breaking bones and putting yourself, in a bed and all of that. That just starts a whole range of new problems. Yeah, spiral down. But believe it or not, there has been a lot of studies saying that it actually helps your brain function. So, and everyone needs that as we age.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal to keep that physical balance in the it's very strong.
I think a lot of times we think we have to do a marathon and instead of taking 15 to 20 minutes. 15, 20 minutes, it's amazing what the body can experience just for a short period of time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So going back to what you said earlier, extremes. So if I can't do this, I'm not going to do anything.
Right.
So yeah, moving unites the body and the mind, and I think so many times we separate from neck up to neck down. So, or we're also focusing on specific parts of our body rather than the entire
package.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so what gets moved keeps moving. One of my notes here we were talking about is movement is medicine.
I love it.
And so, bridging foods and meds, gotta move. Gotta move. And that's why the joy of cooking, being a part of creating your own meals.
Right.
I mean, that's actually moving.
Sure.
Right? And chopping and
then all those added benefits, you know what's in your food.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, how important is recovery or movement, recovering after something? Like after after you get hurt and then you can't do what you used to do, how important is that? Just doing a little bit of something
in that direction.
Yeah.
So when you have movement, your body is in motion, and sometimes if you're strength training, if you're doing something intense, your body needs that recovery. It needs to be able to, as weightlifters know, that your body grows. It doesn't grow while you're lifting the weights. It's growing while you afterwards for the recovery. So that recovery is extremely important. And if you do get injured, you do need to be aware of that and just take your time recovering. But you do need to keep moving.
Yeah.
Just a little. You don't want to be still completely because, any stagnation is not, is that a correct word? Stagnation?
Yeah.
Is that a good word? If that, it's just takes a lot. It's a lot more stressful on your body than if you would keep moving just a little bit at a time.
Easier to keep moving than to start moving.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, the physical movement is huge. My father is 85 and he retired early and then he started another business, and he's actually owned his business longer than he was an employee of another company. And he said, there's no such thing as retirement. I don't read it anywhere in the Bible. And I just need to keep moving. I may need some assistance from a golf cart to a tractor, to a cane, to a walker. He isn't at the walker yet. But his point is, just because you can't do what you used to do doesn't mean you can't do anything. And I watched that, and he grew up on a farm. I mean, work is what he knows, and it continues to give him life and purpose and movement in his body.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of parents, my mother, who is 94, she lives in an assisted living, independent living place in Florida. The activities that they have these people doing is absolutely amazing.
Well, you mentioned she was dancing.
My mother was They have music 3 times a week. Mm-hmm. My mother just got done taking an 8-week Tai Chi class.
I love it.
She is 94 years old.
I love it.
She hasn't stopped moving.
Yeah.
She is enjoying life.
And as we're looking at going back to the ages of the people in the Bible, actually these 90, this is youth. Really, I mean, you're thinking about all these 600-year-old people that we read about it in the Bible. Hey, these 85 and 95-year-old, they're really young, really, really young. So we must be adolescent, right,
Yes,
Marcy?
right, I love
well,
that.
let's talk about hormones. Oh, that's an interesting
Big topic.
Ooh, who could get excited about talking about hormones? So what role do hormones play in overall wellness?
Well, hormones are chemical messengers that help us regulate everything, every process in the body. So, hormones influence our energy, our hunger, our mood. I'm trying to think of the other organ things that we have. Our metabolism, our body temperature. So, hormones are a big part of how we feel.
I think a lot of times when we think hormones, we think about, midlife, but then we think about how about the teenagers and they're coming into junior high school. There's a lot going on there.
Mm-hmm.
And just, being aware of what's going on. And that's why these young folks will eat us out of the house, and it's amazing. So
I'm glad I'm all done with my children. We're good there. I've done that, been there.
So why, the other thing I want to ask about hormones is why is sleep so important for hormone health?
So sleep is when the body actually repairs itself. Mm-hmm. So, and everyone needs to be repaired, right? Mm-hmm. So, they even say that one night of poor sleep can actually affect your hunger the next day.
Wow.
I never knew that.
Wow.
So
one night of poor sleep can affect how hungry
you are the next day. And your cravings for sugar, it says.
Yeah, interesting. Mm-hmm. And I know we're going to get into talking a little bit about screen time. We touched on that a little bit, but how important it is to get off the screens early before you go to bed.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Blood sugar and energy balance. Now, you know firsthand a whole lot about this.
I do. Yes. Mm-hmm. My husband is a type 1 diabetic since he was 19 years old. Mm-hmm. So, and we're high school sweethearts. So I've been dealing with this for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, very long time. Mm-hmm. So, you want to
just talk to us about what happens. We hear about I'm having a spike or I'm having a crash. What's happening?
Yeah, what's happening is when you eat, your sugar will rise, and then usually within 2 hours it will come down. So it depends on what you're eating is how high that blood sugar is going to go. So if you're eating a lot of carbs or a lot of processed foods, a lot of sugar, refined sugar, your body needs to produce insulin to counteract all of that sugar, that spike in your blood sugar. Because remember, your body wants it to be in homeostasis, so it wants it to be level. So a lot of people may go into something called, if they're eating a lot of sugar, they can go into something called insulin resistance. And what that means is that your cells are not responding anymore to your insulin. So when you are eating those heavy carbs and processed sugars, your sugar is going to spike and your body says, oh, I need to produce insulin. Well, it produces the insulin and your cells are not absorbing that anymore. So your body keeps producing more and more and more insulin to do the same job.
And your mind becomes very fuzzy.
Yes.
When this happens, you could pass out, if you're having these spikes, these crashes.
Yes.
So it's a serious
thing
that we need to be aware of.
And it affects every part of your body, your heart, your brain, everything.
Well, when I was working with a physical trainer not too long ago, she said, we all want to enjoy some carbs. We all want to enjoy some sugar. I mean, no absolutes. But putting them together, if you can eat it separately, there's something about the combination of carbs and sugar that really pulls a lot on the body. Like it really demands the body to work hard.
Well, that's because the carbs break down to sugar.
Yeah.
So when you got the carbs and they're breaking down to sugar, and then you're adding refined sugar on top of that, it's a lot.
You know what? Okay, getting back to our machine, we don't want it to work harder than it needs to.
Right.
Because when a machine works really hard, then it's going to break down a whole lot more. Why is protein and fiber? You know, we've talked about carbs and sugar. How about protein and fiber? And why is it so important when we're dealing with this topic?
So protein actually slows down how fast the food gets digested. So if you are eating some protein and you're also having some carbohydrates, the glucose your food goes slower through your digestive tract. So the effect of the glucose isn't as high on your body. So they say that if you are eating dinner and you're having some rice or any type of carb, and you also have protein and vegetables, you should eat your protein and vegetables first and then have your carbohydrates. And that will really affect how your sugar will spike due to those carbohydrates.
So it's a layering, right?
Yes.
So we're layering our food as to how we want it to digest.
Right.
Wow. Good stuff.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
Let me speak about fiber. I did not speak about the fiber. The fiber is actually like a sponge. So it will absorb that glucose from the carbohydrates before it actually even gets dispersed. So a lot of times you can look at, when you're looking on the back of your ingredients, which your label you should always be looking at, if there is fiber, it'll say total carbohydrates, and then under that it'll say fiber, and then it'll say sugar. So I believe the fiber, whatever that number is, you can subtract that from the total,
your net carbs,
to get your net carbs.
Yeah, and I've always heard that 5 grams or under, that's good. You know, if it's more than 5 grams over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, very good.
Just knowing these numbers and how to take care of this precious machine. Well, you know, Marcy, there is a lot to unpack in this topic of balance. So I think we shall come back to this topic and do another section, like a part 2 on balance.
Great idea.
Because, we've got lots to unpack here. And I think that we'll come back and address mental health and social connections. And, that's a whole different animal
sounds
to do.
Great.
So does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Yeah. So I've enjoyed our time. And we always have a good time talking about this. And, it never gets old. It's a journey, right? So we never just get to this destination, because we'll be having these conversations till the day we are not here anymore, because our bodies are constantly changing. So this has been good. I hope you all have enjoyed this topic on balance. And of course, it is a big, big topic. And I would like to make sure that you visit our website. Go to programs. And as you do the drop down on programs, the very first thing there is Bridging Foods and Meds. You will click on that, and it'll lead you to a full description of this program that we're rolling out. You'll also have the Good Energy checklist there. So if you're interested in being a part of this program, this community, this accountability, we want you to fill out the Good Energy checklist. And then we'll be rolling out classes starting late July.
Yep.
And that's
through
where we
December.
can get together here physically with people who want to have more conversations about these important topics. So thank you again for hanging out with Marcy and I and talking about our health and how we can take care of these great engines that the Lord has given us, right?
Yes.
And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Filling Station 1075, and never miss an episode. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.